So I've been saying for a while now that I would like to see Sony attempt another mobile device of some kind, a portable system like a Vita 2. Not necessarily because it would be a good idea for them, just because I would like to see what Sony could do with current technology. The Vita itself has actually aged very, very well. It still feels fairly modern, but obviously that was the last time Sony came out with a portable device a decade ago. Well, good news. It does look like we could be seeing a portable system from Sony after all, with the PlayStation name, in fact. It's just not exactly what I was expecting. So if you guys enjoy the video, make sure you like it and subscribe if you're new. Let's head over here. This was posted up by Eurogamer earlier today. Sony Honda electric cars may incorporate PlayStation 5 to compete with Tesla. That's right. You too could be driving around with a PlayStation 5 equipped car. Now, this is something that's been talked about in general, not necessarily a PlayStation 5 in your car, but the possibility that years into the future, probably 10, 15 years or so, like far advanced compared to where we are now, you could be to a point where autonomous driving makes it so you just sort of sit there and wait around while you get to your destination. And in order to maybe make it a bit more enjoyable, you would, yes, incorporate different avenues of entertainment, which might include a PlayStation 5 system. They say Sony and Honda are joining forces on new electric vehicles that would incorporate PlayStation 5 consoles. Sony Honda Mobility was established in September and plans to build electric vehicles with entertainment like music, movies, and the PlayStation 5 in mind. Sony has content, services, and entertainment technologies that move people. We are adapting these assets to mobility, and this is our strength against Tesla. So the president is Izumi Kawanishi. And, you know, I understand the commute times can be pretty long for people who maybe live outside of a city or anything. I mean, I know a couple people who would drive an hour or two to work before the pandemic and all that stuff happened, and they were then pushed to remote work, and they're still actually working remote. So, hey, if you can get remote work now, you might as well go for it. But driving an hour, even 2 hours to work, and then all of a sudden we get to a position, like I said, a decade from now where the cars drive for you, and you're just kind of sitting there, hanging out, waiting around. You know what? Yeah, you could get an hour or two of game time in, or you could watch a movie or a TV series. There's a lot of trust being put in that self-driving car, obviously, but that seems to be a future that's being pushed for heavily right now, obviously with Tesla really pushing things forward, and we see many, many automobile makers kind of following with them and producing their own competitive cars when it comes to technology and certainly with pricing. They say to enjoy the space in your car, you have to make it a space where you don't need to drive. The solution for this is autonomous driving. Adding a PS5 to vehicles is technologically possible. We will develop a car as hardware that will cater to the entertainment network we would like to offer. So I do believe we could see this even in a concept car. They mention 2025 is something they're aiming for in order to put some of this content into a car that would be self-driving, but they may show up with a concept car a year prior. So we could actually see the PlayStation 5 logo show up maybe as an option when you're going to buy your next car. That would be like one of these self-driving electric vehicles. And what a future that would be. We were kind of promised hovercrafts by now. We're not there yet, obviously. So I guess having a full game console in your car is the next best thing. It'd also probably be good for Sony. I mean, part of this partnership clearly is Sony trying to get more and more PlayStation 5s and just PlayStation systems in general out there. And if you just happen to buy a car with a PS5 in it, well, you're kind of locked in the ecosystem then with your car that you'll most likely have for a while. You assume years and years, maybe even, I assume the whole generation, even depending on how long some of these electric vehicles will last. Yeah, you immediately become a daily active user, just about, right? And if you're sitting there in your car going an hour, 2 hours to your job, you're probably just going to look around and say, I will check this PS5 out. So interesting for the future. Wasn't exactly considering this when I talked about a portable system from Sony. And I'd like to think that someday, well into the future, Sony will take another shot at it. But if anything, the next step would be them going to a hybrid model when technology gets to a position where there are absolute diminishing returns across the board and mobile technology catches up to where it's just doing 4K 60. I'm thinking, like I said, well into the future here. That's probably the only position I could see them moving to get us to a point of, oh, we're going to do something similar to the Vita when it's away from that dock. But let me know what you guys think about all this down below. Would you consider buying a car that can drive itself back and forth to work or wherever you have to go while you sit there in the front seat and play a PlayStation 5 release? What a future. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.